Tonight's story begins with our star, Judge Patrice Miss P. Lawson, walking onto a brightly lit stage, greeted by applause that shakes the room. She has become a sensation after 3 hit seasons on her courtroom comedy show, where the verdicts are sharp, the jokes are fast, and the wig she wears is more famous than half the people on television. She's not just a judge, she's a full force of nature. Comedian, storyteller, mother, and woman who refuses to take nonsense from anyone, including her own children. As she sits down for an interview, the host asks how she's doing. She flashes a confident smile and says she's been busier than she ever imagined. She has her sitcom, the courtroom show, a podcast, and on top of that, she's currently on a nationwide comedy tour. And when she tours solo. Why split the money when she can carry the stage on her own? She laughs about it, but anyone who's seen her live knows when she has a microphone, she has the audience in her hands. Then the host asks about her travels, and this is where the story takes a turn. Recently, one of her comedian friends, let's call him Bert, invited her to fly private for the first time. Judge Patrice usually flies commercial because she has a treasured loyalty status with her favorite airline. She's so dedicated that the flight attendants greet her by name before she even sits down. But Bert insists, "Cancel your commercial ticket and ride with me. Private is the way to live." She gives in. Why not? Life is short, and new experiences are what give stories flavor. They board the private jet, and everything feels perfect, quiet, spacious, like a movie scene. They land in Canada, expecting the star treatment. Instead, they find armed guards waiting at the plane. Judge Patrice stares out the window thinking, why are all these officers here? I'm just trying to tell jokes, not start an international situation. The officers come aboard, asking if anyone has brought food or agricultural items into the country, and her traveling companions panic. They'd loaded the plane with snacks, fruit, sandwiches, even a giant bag of spicy wings. Meanwhile, her friend Bert keeps whispering, "Just smile, just stay calm, everything is fine." But the chaos continues. One of their teammates steps off the plane, announcing to the officers, "We have apples, bananas, oranges, maybe 3 kinds of chips." Judge Patrice nearly faints. She tries to look innocent, like she doesn't know anyone on this aircraft, even though they're all within whisper distance. They're taken off one at a time for questioning. Her assistant gets nervous, thinking she's the one in trouble. Patrice tries not to laugh, even though her heart is pounding. In her head, she's thinking, I knew I should have stayed with my favorite airline. They would have let me land, get my complimentary drink, and roll out peacefully. Eventually, after much discussion, the border officers decide everything is fine. The private jet newcomers simply need to declare their items properly next time. Patrice breathes a sigh of relief and tells the officers with a smile, "If you want to keep me here, just promise I won't be in trouble, and I'll start a new career in Canadian comedy tonight." She performs that evening, and the show is a hit. The audience laughs until they can't breathe. She gets paid, she smiles, and the next day she returns home with another story in her pocket. But the drama doesn't stop on tour. On her TV courtroom show, she suddenly discovers that the case on her docket is actually her 2 grown children suing each other. They walked onto the set arguing about money spent on a night out, music, dancing, snacks, the whole deal. Patrice listens, amused, then reminds them, "You both owe me money. How are you suing each other when I've been helping cover that daycare bill for 5 years?" The audience roars. She bangs her gavel and declares both of them guilty of being ungrateful children. Their punishment? Take off the costumes and go back to work, because they're production assistants behind the scenes of the show itself. Even when the cameras shut off, she jokes that motherhood is the only job from which you can never retire. You don't clock out, you don't get vacation days. You simply upgrade your patience and keep going. Then she fans herself dramatically. She's in the middle of the stage, sweating from heat, nerves, and life itself. She jokes she's going through a personal summer, and she warns the audience, "If you have a cup, I could pour sweat out right now. You'd have a refreshing drink." Everyone erupts in laughter. Judge Patrice ends her story the way she always does, strong, funny, full of life, and reminding the world that no matter what border checkpoints, comedy tours, or runaway children come her way, she will always be ready for the next case, the next stage, and the next laugh. Because some people perform comedy, but Judge Patrice lives it.